Alright, so Boruto Chapter 67 just dropped, and I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of the most anticipated chapters for me in a while because we finally got to see what happened to Boruto, and man, the way Boruto comes back was quite a surprise, and I don't think anybody really would have guessed that this would have happened this way. I feel like with the Boruto manga, we come with so many theories and predictions that literally like none of them ever fall through, but it's always nice to think about, other ways that the story can sort of pan out. But I really like this chapter because it shows Naruto's reaction to actually losing Boruto, and we got to actually see how Naruto would react in a situation to where Boruto was killed or something like that, and it turns out that Naruto actually would freeze up and not be able to do anything. And I found it very interesting when the spoilers came out and people were kind of dogging on Shikamaru, saying, hey, Shikamaru's kind of an L man's, like why is he over here insulting Naruto? And I kind of understand where Shikamaru was coming from, considering he is the Hokage. And I think what Shikamaru was trying to say was, it's in the best interest of the Hokage to sort of perform what would benefit everyone as a whole at that very moment. And I think what would benefit everybody as a whole was to take down Code right now. That way they don't have to worry about him later. However, because Naruto was in shock due to what just happened, he wasn't able to perform his Hokage duties. And I think Shikamaru, as his advisor, was trying to get him to move past the not looking at it as like an emotional thing and sort of doing what he has to do as a Hokage and step up and do his job. I think that's kind of where Shikamaru was coming from, and it may have came off as a little bit rude. I 100% understand why Shikamaru did what he did in this chapter. And it's also, Damon finally getting a little bit of an introduction into the manga, and I gotta say that Damon is going to be a powerhouse when he's introduced fully, because he came in for like 3 seconds and just destroyed Kawaki with no problem. I honestly still think that the ultimate counter for Damon is actually Naruto, because if you guys remember, Damon reflects any sort of killing intent, and I feel like if someone like Naruto was fighting Damon, then that would not really happen as much. I don't know, it's a little bit of a theory that I need to play out a little bit more, but as it stands right now, Damon's going to definitely be a threat. And it seems like Code is once again being not the smartest guy in the room and sort of exposing parts of the new team that he's part of. I mean, he already introduced Damon to Shikamaru and Naruto, which Damon and Ada were supposed to be a secret, right? So now Shikamaru has this intel about Damon, and that will possibly be forwarded to Amato, and then there has some more questions for Amato, I'm guessing. But as of right now, Code is not really the brightest guy in the book, and Code is kind of slow, to keep it a buck with you. But yeah, this little conclusion of this little scene, this arc, whatever you want to call it, was very interesting. But I don't think that the fighting is going to stop here, because it seems like next chapter Code is going to try to invade Konoha and get Amato to remove his limiters off, because Code realized in this chapter that he's actually cannot handle even Kawaki. He said it himself, Code said it out his own mouth, that he cannot beat Kawaki right now, and that's because Kawaki has that dojutsu and his karma has progressed to a point to where he's pretty much a powerhouse right now and can even handle people like Code, right? And I remember Code saying that he could fight Naruto and Sasuke right now, but he wants to make sure that he has the limiters removed off just in case. But seeing how Kawaki was able to mollywop Code just right now, I would say that Code 100% needs his limiters taken off as soon as possible if he thinks he's going to do even an ounce of damage to anybody. So very interesting that Code even himself said that Kawaki is way too much for him to handle. But yeah, I mean, I kind of just gave a quick summary of the chapter, but kind of just go through the events. Kind of starts off with Kawaki now going after Code, and Kawaki now telling Code that he just can't leave, right? Because Code was on his way out, but Kawaki actually can shrink his claw marks, that way Code cannot escape through them, which I thought was very interesting that Kawaki thought of that in that moment. But it might just be because of Kawaki's battle knowledge, I guess. But yeah, Kawaki says that he cannot leave, and that Kawaki once again says that anybody threatening Naruto's life, he'll do whatever he can to stop them. So once again, Kawaki sort of revisiting the ideology of that he'll do anything to protect Naruto, doesn't matter who it is. If you stand in Naruto's way, he's gonna have to get rid of you. And then, there's a scene where Naruto is reacting to Boruto's death, and like I said before, Naruto is frozen. He doesn't know what to do, right? I mean, I can't think of any other Hokage who's been in a similar situation, to where their son was literally killed right in front of them. Now, I can't blame Naruto for, freezing up like this, right? This is his own son. I mean, we know Naruto as a character he's just that kind of guy, right? Like if his son dies right in front of him, he's not just going to, you know, keep it pushing, right? I mean, he's seen people like Neji die in front of him, but that's just a little bit of a different situation. I mean, this situation, this is your own flesh and blood, so Naruto seeing Boruto just, you know, not die right there had to like mess him up mentally, and he couldn't really process it. He was saying, it's like, is this a dream, you know, etc, because, you know, Naruto hasn't really lost someone this close to him to where it's, you know, his own relative, right? So I can definitely see why, you know, even though Naruto has been through war and everything like that, I can see why this messed him up so badly. And it's Shikamaru trying to snap him out of it, trying to like compose him, which I think that's what Shikamaru should be doing, is trying to compose the Hokage, you know, as his advisor, as his right hand man, to like, hey, you know, we gotta get things straight and we can settle this later, but right now I need you to act as a Hokage. And it even came to a point to where Naruto even let go of his sage mode, and turns out he's not gonna use the sage mode at all, you know, during this arc. And he came out of his sage mode and he was just frozen the whole time. It's pretty crazy. You know, kind of sad that we didn't get to see Naruto actually use his sage mode at all in this little fight, but you know, he kind of was just sort of on the sidelines and whatnot, which I guess is okay, but I would have still liked to see a little bit more Naruto action there. But yeah, I mean, moving forward, you know, to the whole Code and Kawaki thing that's sort of going on in the background, Kawaki actually attempts to kill Code, and at this point in the story, Code is out on the ground about to pretty much die by Kawaki, right? Kawaki's going for a signature, you know, big bang attack kind of style on Code, and Code sneaky, man. Code goes ahead and he pulls out Damon out of Ada's lap and uses him to reflect the blast. Now, we've seen what Damon was able to do versus, you know, some of those fodder enemies when he was first introduced, right? He basically cut off their heads. Now, the fact that Kawaki was able to withstand his own massive attack reflected back at him is crazy. I don't think people really understand just how like durable Kawaki seems right now, because that blast didn't kill him. It knocked him out, but it didn't kill him, which is very interesting. So I kind of want to see what Kawaki's durability is going to be like, you know, moving, you know, forward. But yeah, this is where, you know, Code accidentally introduces Damon to, you know, Shikamaru and Naruto, and that was a very big mistake on his part, because that should have been kept secret and down low for a little bit longer. But yeah, Code, you know, sort of checks up on Kawaki, make sure he's not dead and whatnot. And because if Kawaki dies, and Ada's not going to be happy with that, because Ada's pretty much, you know, running the operation here, and she needs Kawaki, you know, for her own means or whatever she plans to do with him. But yeah, so pretty much at this point, Code needs to retreat because he needs his limiters removed, and later down the line, he's going to have to confront Amato to get these removed. That way he can finally face off against Kawaki and these other people like Naruto and Sasuke. But yeah, I mean, Shikamaru brings up this good point about like what we're gonna do about Kawaki, right? Because, you know, even the other villages are not going to stand with this, and, you know, because he's been acting kind of reckless, and there's been so much, you know, controversy surrounding Kawaki. And Naruto still considers Kawaki a part of his family. That's just the kind of person Naruto is, right? He still considers Kawaki a part of his family, even though Kawaki did something horrible to his own family, right? And it seems like no one's gonna really take Kawaki's side, and, you know, there's going to be some turmoil within the villages, I'm guessing, to where Kawaki is given a choice, either to leave the village or something else. And the way Kawaki's been acting is not going to be good, because, you know, we know how Kawaki would react, because he kind of just does things for Naruto's sake. So that's very interesting to see when, you know, that stuff happens. But, you know, it is kind of crazy that, you know, that Naruto would still consider him family even though he killed his son. I think that's absolutely crazy, but it's coming from Naruto, so I kind of understand, you know, his character readiness is the kind of person he is. But yeah, Boruto actually ends up waking up and his hole in his chest is fully healed. Pretty much a summary of what happened with Boruto is that Momoshiki resituated him, and basically there was 18% of the karma that hasn't fully downloaded into Boruto's body. And what he did was he rewrote that last 80% into his DNA and created new cell tissues from that to heal Boruto. So, you know, now Momoshiki won't be able to come back because of this, but the way that Momoshiki's, you know, vessel works and just the other vessels work is that the vessels are our direct connection, you know, to this world. So in a way, by Momoshiki's vessel still being alive, his spirit can kind of live on. So that is kind of one of the other good reasons to why Momoshiki would want Boruto to keep living on, is to still have his spirit kind of lingering on Earth. And, you know, this won't ever happen again because, you know, Momoshiki won't be able to resurrect, and that he won't be able to save his life again. If it was a different situation to where Boruto's karma had fully downloaded, then Momoshiki would have actually came out during this time. But because the karma wasn't fully downloaded, Momoshiki went with this route instead. But you know, Boruto asks, is this one, you know, everything's gonna be taken away from me? And Momoshiki's like, no, this is not even the worst of it, right? And apparently it's gonna be coming very soon to where those eyes will take everything away from him. And according to Momoshiki, this is going to be grand. So it seems like that, I think toward the end of the time skip is when that exact quote was going to come back to haunt Boruto. Yeah, that was pretty much the chapter. It seems like Ko potentially put a claw mark on Shikamaru or marked him or something like that, to where he's going to be able to sneak into the village, and we'll be sort of getting that for the next chapter. The chapter was pretty good. I give it a good 7, 8 out of 10. I think that Boruto did come back a little bit too soon. I would have liked to see him dead for a little bit longer, see kind of what other people's reactions in the village to Boruto's death were. Maybe they'll still sort of get those reactions, I'm not sure, but was very interested in seeing Boruto dead for a little bit longer. But hey, that's kind of okay with me, and I think that, you know, this way that they provide Boruto is better than nothing. But yeah, you know, definitely seeing Kawaki's full power, Kawaki actually being still a powerhouse and even almost defeating Ko was pretty nice to see. And the way they're gonna have to handle Kawaki is going to be interesting, because Kawaki as of now is a huge threat for the world, and I don't think that conversation is gonna go well with Kawaki moving forward. But hey, that's all I got for this chapter review. Let me know what you guys think about the chapter. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
So